So family, happy Tuesday to you. Hope you rested well on last night and you got up telling the day what it was going to be. So family, listen, you were caught in the crossfire. Yes, you were. Yes, you were. You were caught in the crossfire of someone else's internal war. All right. This is going to help you, so family, if any of you are struggling in the area of forgiveness. Thank you, Holy Spirit. Okay. I felt a strong prompting from Holy Spirit to get it together this morning so that I can release this download. When someone else is having an internal war, a lot of times they're not telling anyone about that. At least they're not telling you about that. But you began to get caught in the crossfires of whatever their struggle is. All right? And you end up being wounded because of their internal war. All right? It is very important for you to understand that the focus should not be on the wounding you received because you were caught in the crossfire. I know you thought I was going a different way, but I'm not. It should be focused on your reaction to being wounded while being caught in the crossfire. Thank you, Holy Spirit. The lessons you were supposed to learn in that event is, how am I responding to someone else who is in a war within themselves? How am I responding to that? How am I, and let me use the word reacting, not responding. Okay. You want to, when you respond, that takes thinking, using your emotional intelligence, okay? When you react, that is impulsive. You're just doing something off the cuff because you've been hit. That is the same thing that happens when you are triggered. You're reacting to being hit in a wounded spot, in an injured place that is not healed, all right? So it is, in our healing journey, we really need to understand this. We really need to understand this. And sometimes we don't. Sometimes we like to focus on how we've been mishandled or mistreated. The focus is there, but you're not turning the focus to, okay, it's not about how this person, because that person showed up in your life with that behavior for a reason. There is something, thank you, Holy Spirit, that the divine is teaching you about reactions. All right? And you know, we like to say, oh, I did absolutely nothing. Well, you know, there may be a few people that do absolutely nothing to deserve this, you know, but a lot of times when you are engaged with an individual and you are relating, there are things that both people are actually doing. And that's not always the case. There are some people that are really vindictive and they just come at you for no reason. I'm not saying that that doesn't exist. I'm speaking more along the lines of when you were engaged with something or someone and there was crossfire. And there was an internal war, whether it be within one of you or both of you, and the bullets are flying and people are being wounded on both sides. In a war, people are wounded on both sides. All right. So don't think just because you're wounded, the other person isn't wounded. All right. Or the other people aren't wounded. That's not always the case. A lot of time, both parties are just as wounded as the other, whether they're saying it or not. And a lot of times what will happen is you'll move toward people that you feel like are better for you. I'm just going to discard that individual. And I'm going to move toward people that are better for me. All right. All right. When you do that, okay, you move toward the people that are better for you, so you think. You actually move toward the people that are just like you. And sometimes the lessons you learn is from the mirroring of yourself from another person that you move toward. All right? We do healing in different ways. Me personally, When I go through something and I need to heal from it, I go within. You know, I get to myself. I don't typically go out and find a group of people to hang out with. I do healing differently. I don't pull another person in my space to help me heal. I go within and I rely on my union with Holy Spirit to bring salve to that wound and to bring healing. I decline to connect with other people at that time because healing to me is very personal. All right. It's very personal. That is the way I do it. Now, some other people may join themselves with others so they don't think about it. They busy themselves with work, or everybody's healing practice is different and their strategy is different. But knowing that you were caught in the crossfire gives you a new perspective, because sometimes when you're struggling to forgive, you can't forget what that individual or individuals did to you. And knowing that they have a war, and I know some of you will say, I don't care that they have a war, they mistreated you. Well, you're probably not the person this video is going to help. I'm speaking to those who are expanding in their heart, okay? Who are understanding that there's always two sides to every story. And forgiveness is about your freedom. It's not about them. It's about your freedom and you being free, all right? And you having closure, because some of you are waiting for acknowledgement that you've been hurt by people that have hurt you that isn't going to come. They're not going to acknowledge it. So do you just stay in pain until they acknowledge it? What if they never acknowledge it? Some of them won't. Some of them are passed on, so they can't. Okay? So how do you attain closure? Closure can come when you acknowledge that I've learned all the lessons I needed to learn from being caught in that crossfire. All right? I learned the lessons I need to learn from my reactions to the crossfire. All right? I was wounded by this individual or individuals, but that individual or individuals is fighting their own internal war that has absolutely nothing to do with me. So family, I'll see you on the next download. Toodles.